Hello, Forgers. This is Bonfrey from L World. Thanks for watching. This is FOE Advance, and today we are talking about Guild Treasury health. So I wanted to mainly target this towards players and guild leaders that have an interest in, say, low attrition, low cost fights in guild battlegrounds, or you are a GvG guild, guild versus guild. Maybe you do both, where you need to have a good store of goods in your treasury in order to execute either or both of those campaigns. It's important that if you want your members to be on that same bus with you, so to speak, or you are a guild member, you want to be in alignment with your leadership. If you're in a guild, say you're a member, and you're in a guild that doesn't focus on GbG that much, or the leadership isn't stocking the treasury, so to speak. And I'll explain, it's not all in the leadership to specifically do that themselves, but they need to set an expectation, say, hey, we're all really wanting these low attrition fights, so we need to contribute. Every player needs to contribute to some degree, to some level, because when they go to actually build the camps and things like that, it's going to cost goods from every member that's representative in their given eras. So it may, ask for preservatives because someone's in tomorrow, but then it might also ask for, asbestos for someone that's in PE. So whoever has, like, if you have a fringe of members, like where maybe there's one person down here in Iron Age, but then you have a whole bunch of people up here in FE, for example, that's going to kind of gum things up unless the person down here in Iron is either A, producing enough goods to self-support in that fringe era, if you will, if they're kind of on the bookend, either low or high in eras, where the median of your guild might be, mostly in, say, PE, whatever, it doesn't matter. So to basically have a clear statement of, hey, our guild wants to be competitive in these campaigns, whatever they are, and we love the free fights. It gets you more prizes, more rewards, more FPs, more prints you need, or not prints, but more, of everything, basically all the rewards you get. Or we want to be super awesome in GvG and hold a lot of tiles, that's going to be costly on your treasury. So basically what I'm trying to communicate is that it's important to have alignment between leadership and guild function. And so if your members are all understanding why you're saying, maybe you say, look, we need you to have at least a level 40 arc, or a level 40 arc and a level 20 obs. In our guild, it's a level 80 arc and it's a level 60 obs, because that's going to make enough good, goods themselves to contribute to the treasury to keep us healthy. Now, if someone comes in who says, look, I really want to grow because I know you guys are going to help me grow, because you guys, most of the people in my guild are elite players, and we love to help out, players that aren't at our level, but, to help them, then they can come in and then we'll help them get their arc where it needs to be, or their obs, and then, they'll be contributing. In the meantime, there's other ways to address this other than just asking every player to self-support. So I'm going to go through that. But basically, aside from publicizing the requirements, and I think it's important to say why you have those requirements in your guild description as people join, it helps you attract people of the same mindset. And then those that, if you are clearly communicating, like maybe you've got a guild that is sucking really bad at a consistent contribution of goods, just make a point to talk to your members on guild chat about why you're making a change or why a change needs to happen, so they understand the benefits. And if it's not a fit for them, maybe they go to a more chill guild or a trading guild or whatever. So the other thing that's really been successful for us in the past, for guild health and treasury health, has been to set up a small trading club, if you will. I'll just call it a club. It's really just a message thread where you have various players that have stepped up. Most of the time, it's at least leadership or higher level players that are really committed to the game. But you may have some other people that are like, hey, I love trading and I will help. So the way this basically works is you have someone let's say in a higher era that's sitting on just, tons of goods, right? They're making thousands of goods per day through the various means, maybe trading down, not only what they're making in their city, but, they're just all over the place doing stuff. Like one of our members, Funny Farm, he has, hundreds of thousands of each good because he just is active in trading, right? And so there's a way to do this that you can really help out from a leadership standpoint. So say you have, you're in VF and you have a lot of goods. What you can do is go to your trading team and say, I'm going to give you, seed you basically 500 of each of whatever goods that are higher era for them. And then they can do an unfair trade. So let's say that they're down in, they're down in tomorrow, and you trade them and they have a lot of tomorrow goods, whatever they have a lot of, it doesn't matter. So do an unfair trade where they give you, they offer 250 of each good that they have available that's expendable. In return, you give them 500 of a higher era good, and then they can take that, and it's not costing them anything, but basically you're just giving them an initial investment so that then they can trade that down, because then, that, say you go from FE to TE to CE, you're turning 100 goods into 400 goods. So it expands really quick, and you need to tell them, hey, this is your target era. So what wouldn't make sense is for you to give, sob goods to someone that's sitting down here in, HMA, because HMA neighborhoods, for the most part, aren't going to be able to trade, most of the goods that are in between, right? So you want to look at this a little closer than just saying, hey, wow, if I just throw a CE person's, SAV goods, then that'll be great, and they'll turn it into, thousands of goods. Chances are, unless they have friends that are spanning those eras, they may have a hard time. They may not get any trades picked up. So one thing I really recommend for executing this, and this has just been me learning through the School of Hard Knocks, has been, I would not trade, have a player in a given era try to trade anything down that's more than 2 eras above their current era, and then have them trade down up to maybe an era lower than them. And I also, to encourage priority of their trades being picked up, I would consider not doing fair trades all the time. In other words, let's say you set up a trade for, for 100 goods. Sorry, that's a tech tree. You go to, let me just set up a trade real quick, just do something visually. So I don't know, nickel, and then we'll go down to VF here. So let's say we're doing this. So 100 goods of here, and normally I would want 200 to make it, quote, kind of a fair trade, right? But to encourage faster pickups, I would go to like 185 instead of 200, or 175. Yeah, you are shaving some goods off on your ROI, but these trades tend to get picked up very fast. Another thing that Wick did one time, which I thought was brilliant, was he offered up some trades, but he said, hey, he basically messaged the neighborhood and said, he was only trading down like one era. He was going from like, Sam to VF. And he said, hey, neighbors, if you pick up my trades, I will put 10 FP on any building you want for in return for every trade you pick up. So let's say he had maybe 50 trades out there, and they were probably higher, like 500 for 1,000, stuff like that, not little ones. But once he offered that, people picked up those trades, and it cost him 500 FP, but he was able to get these trades picked up like super fast, which I think is a really neat strategy. I think especially if you're a leader in your guild and you've got an FFP sitting around, that's one way to really leverage it. I thought it was a very creative concept in terms of incentivizing the neighbors or friends to pick up those trades. It's also important, I think, just in general, to try to have a friends list that spans the strata of many eras. That way you have more of a chance of active kind of trading stuff. So anyway, that's that, it's good also to talk about a daily goal with your guild members to say, hey, we would like to see everyone contributing at least, X hundreds of goods per day to the treasury, depending on the level of their buildings that do that. There's a few different ones that will help. In this case, you can see what's going on with each building, by their contribution. But I ended up taking the blimp out of my town because it does support the guild treasury, but I got to a point where it was just taking up too much space for what it was. So that's basically what I have today. I'm hoping this will help. There's a lot of different ways to do this, but I think communication with your guild members and saying, hey, this is what we want from you and why, and this is our strategy, our mindset, and get those members that are willing to help trade. Just give them as many goods as you can afford. Maybe you have someone that's a real goods producer, and you get them on board to seed the goods investments, and then there's others that maybe actively do the trading. So anyway, I hope this was of some help, and please post questions or clarifications. Sometimes I just, babble on and I'm talking about a bunch of different concepts. So thanks for watching. Subscribe if you like what you see, and we will talk soon. Forge on.